guys, just me again. We are reading The Girl I Used to Be. This is our today's reading. It is starting on page 150, which is called Wicked Looking Thorns. It is chapter 31. And remember, I'm going to give you guys a quiz on Monday to see if you read for today. So be prepared for that, okay? When I answered the knock on my door the next day, Nora's standing on the front porch. The doubling thing happens again as I remember opening the door to find the old Nora wanting to visit with my grandmother. Want to go for a walk in the cemetery, she asked. Sure. I don't have to be at work for nearly 2 hours. Anything that will get me outside my own head sounds good. My dreams last night were an endless loop of my mom trying to escape her killer. Quinn said I would have new revelations, but I seem stuck on the old. Despite her long legs, Nora takes tiny steps as we go down the hill, and I turn onto the flat dirt road that leads to the cemetery. I make a conscious effort to slow my steps. I love this old cemetery. She has to pause for breath after each word or two. It's my favorite place in the world. I hold the gate for her. To the left, a carefully tended bed of flowers catches my eye. I walk over to admire it. When I turn back, Nora is still well behind me. Are you all right? I pause while she gathers on another breath. Need to sit down. She collapses more than sits on a low stone wall. I reach out to grab her in case she keeps toppling sideways. She lifts, but she doesn't fall. Her breathing is too fast and too shallow. Her skin looks so white. Should I run back and get my car so I can drive her home? But what if something happens in the meanwhile? Are you okay? I just need to rest. I pretend not to be watching her. The wall we're sitting on surrounds a small family plot that holds 3 gravestones and has an empty space where a 4th grave could go. The most recent date on any tombstone is 1938. If I pass out, you have to promise, she says between breaths, to let me go. Make sure it's a good long time before you call anyone. Shocked, I lean away from her. You don't mean that. I'm ready, but I've had 2 heart attacks. My hearing is totally shot. My cataracts are getting worse. She pauses between sentences. It's like having a car that's starting to nickel and dime you. At some point, it's not worth keeping anymore. Besides, I want to see what happens next. So you believe in heaven and harps and all that? I don't know if God exists. None of us can really know, but I believe he does. I nod. I'm not so sure about God, but I do believe in evil. And maybe if you believe in evil, you have to believe in the opposite. Nora echoes my thoughts. About the only thing I know is that it all comes down to love. Love is the only thing that matters, and it's all there is. But that's plenty. Her voice is strengthened. Even she's still as blue-white as skim milk. I'm not certain what I believe in, except maybe Nora. A woman walking a small dog crests the hill and comes towards us. She's wearing a navy blue business suit and tennis shoes. I don't know her, Nora says almost to herself. She straightens up as the woman gets closer and then calls, "Hello!" I smile awkwardly. The woman stops, but the dog makes a beeline towards Nora. It looks like a collie, black and brown and white, only smaller. It crashes until its belly touches the ground, and then it begins crawling towards Nora, wiggling and squirming to stay flat. The woman's eyes goes wide. I've never seen her do that before. Meanwhile, the dog has reached Nora. Now it rolls over to its back, presenting its belly. Who's a good dog? Nora reaches out to scratch the pink skin that shows through the white hairs. The dog lets out a cross between a groan and a whine. Wow, I never would have said she would let anyone do that. The dog owner watches as Nora ruffles her fingers back and forth. Not even me. She would take my hand off for sure. Nora doesn't answer. She's got eyes and ears only for the dog. Finally, the woman says, "Bella, we have to go or I'll be late for work. Come on, Bella." She tugs the leash, and the dog, with one last reluctant whine, gets to her feet. As the lady is walking, she calls, "You and your granddaughter have a great day." "We will," Nora says. Manage a nod. Tears prick my eyes. I only wish you were my grandmother. Suddenly, I miss my real grandmother fiercely. "Do you want to keep going?" Nora gets to her feet. She seems energized by the conversation with the woman and, more importantly, the woman's dog. Sure. We start off again. Nora's steps still more shuffle than stride. I keep one hand out, ready to grab her elbow. As we start up the low hill, I can see a splotch in my mother's grave. A jolt of excitement races from my head to my heels. I jot forward for a closer look. It's a single red rose, the color of old blood. It looks fresh. Its stem sports wickedly looking thorns at least half an inch long. I didn't think it was brought by a florist or flinch from an arrangement. The end is ragged, not snipped. The rose must have come from a garden. I bring it back to Nora. Frank told me he keeps finding red roses on Naomi's grave. This must be one of them. Maybe it's from one of your mother's old admirers, Nora says. I go still inside. What did you say? Nora looked at me for a long time. Finally, I'm the one that has to look away. She touches my shoulder. Oh, honey. I've known for a while now. Did you see me take that Halloween photo of me and my parents? Her tone is covered with warmth. I saw you. I turned to look into her kind face. Really saw you. Anyone with eyes in their heads would see that you were Terry and Naomi's daughter. I should have spotted it the first day, no matter what you said your name was. My name really is Olivia now. Even though I've lied to everyone, it stings a little that she thinks I lied to her. The lady who adopted me changed my name. Does she know you're here? I'm not sure Tasman even knows I'm alive. The adoption didn't last. I'm sorry I didn't tell you before, but I want to find out the truth about who killed my parents. I'm starting to figure things out, but people will stop talking if they know who I am. What was she like? Naomi, I mean. She was a smart girl, kind, a good mother. She read to you, and she loved to make you laugh. Your parents always loved you, even if they didn't always love each other. And I think they did love each other. They were just young. I never even got to know her, to know them, talk to them. My throat closes with tears. Why didn't the killer take me too? They might as well have. The shell I've built up layers around myself over the years has developed into many cracks. But you're still standing. She takes my warm hand into her cold one. We start down the hill. Two men are at the bottom. One is riding a kid's bike that's too small for him. The other blows his nose in the dirt, which is beyond disgusting, then wipes on the sleeve of his heavy coat. They both look homeless. My shoulders hunch. Nora, tottering along in her knockoff Keds, looks like the perfect victim. Neither of us is carrying a purse, but that probably won't stop them. I'm sure they'll ask for money or demand it. We haven't seen anyone else since the woman with her dog. I scan the rest of the cemetery, but it's empty. Even if I were to shout for help, the houses are too far away. I have to be ready to protect Nora, to put myself between them and her. Nora's been watching her feet, but now she lifts her head just as the two men notice it. This is it. I exhale and tense those muscles. Beignet! Nora shouts, waving. Flora, Nora! The guy in the heavy coat lopes up to us and gives her a hug. He's ready. He's got a ruddy face and red hair. I recognize him from the funeral. Who's your friend? She asks him, but the other guy's already riding away from us, and Beignet doesn't answer. Beignet, this is Olivia, Nora says, undeterred. She just moved in next door, Olivia. This is my friend Beignet. The two of them, the age-spotted old woman and the man whose sack mouth has more holes than teeth, don't belong together. At least not in my head. But in hers, it's clear they do. She still has her arm around his waist, but he's not looking at me. Instead, he's staring at the rose in my hand. This guy, his sunburned face is familiar. I flash back on the red-haired guy in the yearbook photo of my parents and their friends. Now I see the resemblance between this dirty homeless man and that boy. You're Ben Galt, aren't you? I ask. He doesn't answer, but his eyes go wide. Pulling free from Nora, he turns and begins to run away. Ben, I shout. Hey, wait a minute, Beignet. Can I please just talk to you? He keeps running. I'll be right back, I tell Nora, and then sprint after him. In his heavy coat and falling apart shoes, he's not very fast. Finally, he stops towards me with his hands, and he's trembling. I'm not hurting anything. It's okay. Don't be frightened. It's just that I saw you at Terry Week's funeral, and I want to ask you a couple of questions. You're Ben Galt, right? He shakes his head. The guy whose name is on my birth certificate is dead. I blink. But you are Ben Galt, right? You were friends with Terry Weeks and Naomi Benson? Ben Galt is just a noise. His hands fall loose to the sides. A sound. It doesn't mean anything. Of course, the government comes looking for Ben every now and then. But that's okay. I no longer have anything to hide. I don't steal. I don't even beg. I feel the eyes on me, though. He makes a V with two fingers pointing at me, and then turns to tap in his forehead. I hear people talking about me. The whites of his eyes are the only clean part of his face. That's why I have the earplugs, so I can sleep at night. But the voices sneak in anyway. He's clearly off, mentally ill, Asperger's, drugs, but he doesn't seem dangerous, and Nora considers him a friend, and he might know something about my mom. Can I just ask you something about Naomi? His eyes narrow. Don't look at me with those please help me eyes. Out here, you can't be all nicey-nicey. I held out the rose. Did you leave this at Naomi's grave? I didn't steal it. I believe you, but why did you leave it? She listens to me. The present tense makes me shiver. I repeat what Frank told me. I heard that you talked to her gravestone. I don't talk to her gravestone, his laugh. I talk to Naomi. You think the dead don't hear? You think they don't talk back? Nora knows what I'm talking about. I sudden odd hope fills me. What if he's right? When I leaned down to pick up the rose, if I had listened hard enough, would I have heard my mom's voice? What would she have said? What did she tell you? I asked. What does Naomi say to you? The light has gone from his eyes now. The dead leave you alone. Unknown bones, no phone, rolling stones, only there's moss. His words make kind of a strange sense, even down to the moss. Many of the words chiseled in my old headstones have been filled with religion. So Naomi doesn't say anything to you? She knows I'll be there soon. Don't say that, you're still young.
Excuse me, teacher. Can I have Hayden Williams in the office for a minute, please?
He doesn't look young, though. The dirt grounds on his face, emphasizes the lines on his forehead, around his eyes, bracketing his mouth. Maybe straight ears are like dog ears. A puzzled look comes over his face, and he takes a step closer, involuntarily. I step back, but he takes two until he's nearly close enough to kiss me. He smells like sweat and pee and mothballs, like something forgotten rotten in our greenhouse. Naomi? He tilts his head so far to the side it looks like it will come off his neck. He's not asking a question about her. He's asking a question of me. He thinks I'm my mom. Now, my name's Olivia. Naomi's dead. Naomi! He grabs my hand so hard that the bones grind together. It's all I can say to pull away. I'm sorry, he says. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. What are you sorry for, Beignet? You know. He turns and looks away, breaking eye contact. His mouth curls at the corners as if he's going to die. I don't. Tell me what happened to Naomi. Tell me. I have to swallow before I can go on. Tell me what happened to me. After I looked for you, I interrupt. You were one of the ones who looked for me after. I can't bring it to say the body was found. We were out in the woods and the trees were watching, and I watched too, and I saw. What did you see? Which we is he talking about? Is he saying that he was with my parents when it happened? Or does he mean the search? He looks past me with unfocused eyes. In the daytime, when I go outside, I used to show my friends what they hadn't seen before, like the hello, see you later, like the halo. When I was 20, when I began preaching the truth, with his free hand, he points to his head. See, the light, which is your halo? He leans closer, and his sour breath washes over me. You know, aura. That's why everyone can't see it. If you got some of the drugs, maybe you can see, maybe you can't. His face twists with anguish. I know what I saw. Everybody knows what they see, but I don't know what's real and what's not. What did you see, Beignet? My blood chills. What did you see? Orange trucks. Suffer. Snow, blood, dogs, hand in glove. He looks up from our linked hands to me. Run! They say run! He lets go, turns, and begins to run again, a broken stagger. I watch him go, feeling as if I've been underwater drowning, and now I've come back for air. Come back to reality. I realize I should never have left Nora alone. What if she's fallen while I've been gone, had a heart attack? What if the other homeless guys come back for her? I break into a run. I find her sitting on a bench, so relieved to see that her color is better. Sorry I left you. You took off like your hair was on fire. How do you know Beignet? What do you want to ask him? He was friends with my parents, and Frank says he talks about my mom's tombstone. I tried to ask him about it, but he didn't make much sense. All I understood was that maybe he saw something back in the woods again back then, or thinks he did. He may not know himself, Nora says. He's gone in and out of reality for years, at least the reality we understand. To him, it's all real. Where does the truth lie? Is Beignet terrified of what he saw, what he imagines he saw, or could it be me? Or could it be why, what he did? Chapter 33, The Girl I Used to Be. We're going to read a few pages of this. I have class here in a minute, so I'm going to stop the video, but I will upload a second part as well. The Girl I Used to Be. The day is just beginning to cool off as I head home to get ready for the party at Duncan's house. After a quick shower, I dress in cutoffs and the white peasant top I bought at Goodwill and put on Nora's necklace again. I've been wearing it every day. She told me earlier that she doesn't have the energy to go to the barbecue tonight. Since it's only 6 blocks away, I decide to walk, and I text Duncan that I'm on my way. Carrying a bowl of grapes, I set off down the hill past the old cemetery. Soon, the mouth-watering smell of grilled meat fills the air. The street is full of cars, and the yard is full of people. Duncan steps out on the porch. When he sees me, his face lights up the way he waves. I remind myself that we are only pretending to be boyfriend and girlfriend. I weave around clumps of people and recognize some faces from the memorial. Stephen Spaulding, the police chief, is deep in conversation with Sam. His black pants and polo shirt still look like a uniform. The house is lived in and comfortable with hardwood floors and a well-used leather couch and books everywhere. In the kitchen, Duncan's mom is digging in the fridge, but she straightens up when she sees us. She's dressed in jeans and a sleeveless top. Her feet are bare. Nice to see you again, Olivia. I feel her eyes measuring me as she turns to her son. Hey, Duncan. I was sure we had a new bottle of ketchup. Have you seen it? He shakes his head. I hold out the bottle of grapes. Where should I put these? They're already washed. That's very sweet of you. The food goes in the backyard, which is where all the kids are hanging out. She turns to Duncan. Although I guess you're a little too old to run through the sprinkler or toss a beanbag. You're never too old to cornhole, says a man holding a spatula as he comes through the sliding glass door. His dark eye is cut close to the scalp, and his eyes are such a pale gray that they're almost silver. I only need to look from him to Duncan to know it's his dad. He sticks out his hand, which is covered with dozens of tiny cuts from various stages of healing. Hi, I'm Greg, with 3 G's, which can be confusing to some people. I hold up my bowl of grapes as an excuse not to shake hands. I need to be careful with neither of his parents notice my scar. Hi, Greg with 3 G's. I'm Olivia with a whole bunch of vowels. He grins. Good thing neither of us has a scramble word. Olivia just moved into the house Terry's wife used to live in. Duncan says. You mean Terry's girlfriend, Naomi Benson? Yes, Naomi and Terry were never married. Yeah, Naomi's house. Her and her mother's. I don't mention me. Did you know them well? Greg takes the second spatula from a crock on the counter. Audrey knew Naomi better than I did. Terry used to live next door with his dad, and the three of us went hunting together for a few years. He handed the spatula to Duncan. Can you come help me at the grill? Everyone's ready for round 2. As they leave, Audrey says, Naomi and Terry's girl used to play with Duncan. I want to keep the focus on my parents, not the girl I used to be. I steer the conversation back to, what was Naomi like? She was pretty, quiet, smart. As they speak, she opens the refrigerator again, leans in, shuffling containers and bottles. When she got pregnant, she started knitting all these little booties and sweaters. His voice is muffled. Terry was more of a life of the party type guy. When they said he killed her, we didn't want to believe it. But again, you never want to believe stuff like that. The paper said the police have been called out to the house several times and that she's actually had a restraining order against him. Audrey looks over her shoulder at me. That was Naomi's mom, Sharon. She was mad at Terry for getting Naomi pregnant, and he got behind on child support. That Thanksgiving, everyone had too much to drink and there was a shoving match. Sharon called the cops and insisted Naomi press charges. Terry told us about it. He was embarrassed and ashamed. I feel a surge of hope, and even if it's based on the idea of my parents having a drunken argument, my grandmother lying. So they didn't really fight? Ah, there it is. I knew I had another one. Triumphantly brandishing a bottle of ketchup, Audrey emerges from the fridge. She turns to me. Oh, yeah, they fought. Greg and I fought all the time back then, too. And we were just a few years older. Naomi and Terry were still kids themselves when their baby was born. Greg and me, we got a chance to grow up, to figure things out. They didn't. With the ketchup bottle, she points at the sliding glass door. Come on, let's go outside and get you some food. Taking the grapes, I follow her. On one side of the crowded background, squealing kids run through a sprinkler. The water sparkles in the long rays of the setting sun. On the other, people are pulling drinks from an ice-filled cooler or circling a picnic table still crowded with food. Chicken breast and hamburger patties sizzle as Duncan and his dad turn to the huge stainless steel grill. Hovering over the meat is Richard Lee, dressed in a crisp blue Bermudas, like those long shorts, and Madras plaid short-sleeve shirt. When he catches sight of me, he gives me something between a wave and a salute. He looks so different from the ragged boy in the annual. Had his change in circumstances really started with my parents' murder? I move a nearly empty bottle of Doritos to make room for my grapes. Sam is in the backyard now, adding a scoop of potato salad to an already heaving plate. Where's she going to put it? You could cut yourself with those shin bones. From across the yard, Lauren gives me a little wave, and I walk over to her, relieved to talk to one person who for sure can't be a suspect. You're wearing that blouse, and your necklace is beautiful. Are those buttons? Thanks, they are. I run my fingers over them. Nora gave it to me. Lauren's wearing shorts and a yellow t-shirt that would look terrible on me. On her, it's just all sets off her tan skin and purple hair. She scans the crowd. Is she here? I haven't heard her yet. No, she decided not to come. She says she didn't want to be out too late. Too late? It's not even 9 o'clock. I think that's about when she goes to bed. But she gets up before dawn. I'm going to get something to eat. I didn't have much lunch today. As I circle the table, I try to eavesdrop. I'm pretty sure I catch my parents' names a few times, but whenever I get closer, people fall silent. Jason is saying to Carly, "When you're out on the open road, it's just you and your big, powerful truck. The feeling is amazing." He labors over his pronunciation, his features bunched together. The beer he's holding clearly isn't. Basically, I'm getting paid to cruise along while jamming to my favorite tunes. I remember him complaining about his job to Heather. Maybe he's good at presenting only the side that he wants people to see. But Carly's not really listening. Instead, she says, "Terry would have loved this party, wouldn't he?" At the sound of my father's name, Sam lifts her head from her plate. He'd probably be leading us all in a Congo line or something. Her smile is lopsided. Jason swears nothing's been the same since he died. Is Sam's or Jason's grief a cover for something darker? What about Richard? Did his real estate empire really start with my father's money? And did Bedier really see anything in the woods, or is he a victim of my own mind? Despite what Quinn said about Revelations, I feel that I'm no closer to the truth than when I started. All right, that's it for today, guys. I'm going to put a quiz on Monday. I'm going to also upload a video of me reading for the rest of the book because of how things went today. So I hope you guys have a great day and have a good weekend. Bye.